Well, good morning and welcome to Coffee Break. And Coffee Break is a perfect name because it's about 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, and you've been at work for a couple hours. You know, for you East Coasters, and this is the first time you get a chance to go out and get a cup of Joe. I get it. Or fill up that the Starbucks coffee that you got before, and now maybe you're figuring out that maybe you spent a little too much on the Starbucks coffee. That basically a half a cup was $6, and now you're at work and you're getting a little bit of that break room coffee to mix with it. Boy, that's always good, isn't it? But anyway, we're trying this new thing for a little bit. Me and my friend Paul Swanson from the frozen tundra of Wisconsin. And I'm not kidding. Where Paul lives is frozen freaking tundra. That's what it really is. It's not in Lambeau. I think Lambeau is a little far south to be the frozen tundra.
Lambeau is balmy.
My God. Well, welcome, Paul. It's good to talk to you again. From the northern portion of the United States.
That's right.
I'm trying to get him to move. I am. I'm trying to get him to move because I'm worried about him. You know, Paul's getting up in age. You know what? And that snow's not good for you all the time.
That's right. That's right.
You know, it's maybe it's time to do something else. But I'll tell you what. Right now is not the time to come to Florida. Last night, and I wish I was exaggerating, Paul, but at 10:30 last night, in front of my house, it was still 90 degrees. With 90% humidity.
Ooh, yeah, that's people ask why we moved out of Houston.
Oh yeah,
and I the basic reply there is, I got tired of taking a shower and getting out and drying off and still being wet.
Yeah, no doubt, because it is
and
brutal.
then the other year that we were there, that we turned the AC on in April and didn't turn it off till October because it was so warm.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's how it is here. You know, AC is one of those things where it's a special occasion here that that it can be off all day and then you can be inside. It's a special occasion because it just doesn't happen that often. You know what? In January it's on. In February it's on. In March and April, it's on all freaking year. Now, you may change where the thermostat is, but it's on. Because you want to make sure that it's on. Because it's real easy for the house to end up 90 degrees in mid-January. However, though, the advantage we have, Paul, is that it never snows here. And you never have to dig your car out, and you don't have to wrap your battery in thermal gear when you go to the mall.
We have that's why you have garages. That's
well, but I can leave my car outside.
Yeah, and have the birds take at it for you.
Well, yeah. I mean that's what they do because even the birds leave where you live to come hang out with me.
Yeah, that's true.
Holy goodness,
that is true. That is true. Well, yes, welcome to everybody from the Northern Outpost in northern Wisconsin. Actually, the remote northern outpost, I should say.
Good God, man!
As people wonder where we are, I said if we were any further north in Wisconsin, we'd be in Canada.
That is crazy to me, but whatever. Listen, we got a lot. I know you've got limited time this morning, but there were some things that I wanted to toss at you to see what you thought about. You know what? Right before our Independence Day, right before the time that we're going to be most emotional and most excited about our country, the U.S. military says to us, "Oh, by the way, as you're going off for your Independence Day celebrations, we have decided to allow those in the military who are transgender to serve openly." Now, I'm not even sure what that means. I'm not sure what that means because we hear that all the time about gays being able to serve openly in the military. I'm not sure what that means, and no one's ever
special uniforms or something. Maybe.
Well, yeah.
A little more style.
A little more style. Ruffles. We need ruffles. And this just has to be so tight around my neck. But I don't understand what that means. Do you have any idea what that means? That now people who are consider themselves transgender will be able to serve in the military openly?
It's it's that corporate double speak military. It's parsing words, and my question would be, okay, so how many known transgenders do you have actually serving in all four branches: Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines?
I think the number that they quoted was something around 2,000, and that seems like a lot if they're all in your living room. But if you look at
yeah, exactly.
But if you look at the military, all four branches, and if you look at the number of people in the military, and you look at how the military is spread out across the planet, you're probably never going to run into a person. You're probably never going to run into a transgendered military person, in the airport or in the mall, because that's not very many people when there's that of a sampling of the entire military. So
exactly,
they say about 2,000,
and it's the the Joint Chiefs and whoever inside the Beltway there being politically correct and jumping on the Me Too bandwagon. Look at us. We're being so diverse, and we're going to let the transgenders serve. I'm not sure that it really has any impact, given the the drawdown that the Obama administration has had with the overall military, the fighting force, and I know I didn't experience it, but I could certainly call on a number of other people who could certainly relate firsthand that. I think the thing, whatever is going to happen will probably sort itself out internally, and we'll just leave it at that.
Well, you know what? Anytime you have that sort of organizations, it's sort of, and I'm sorry, ladies. I know sports analogies work, though. Everything I have is a sports analogy. Things in the locker room normally get worked out in the teams. Yep. They just get worked out because that's really the culture. You know what, it seems like the policy may be one thing, but it's the culture that drives whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
Policy is one thing, but culture is what actually drives you. So it'll probably.
I think, like you said, they're saving face and saying, yes, we're going to let transgenders serve. Is that actually going to trickle all the way down to the lowly E1 in any of the four branches? Maybe, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that.
So you don't think there's a whole bunch of transgender people who are going to be signing up for the military today after seeing fireworks last night and getting all jacked up about their country? If they do, more power to them. But I'm not going to be holding my breath on that issue. I don't think so. I'll tell you, I don't think so. I think that's more like a Saturday Night Live skit where now a whole bunch, and you can see it Saturday, a whole bunch of transgendered people, at the military recruiting station signing up because now they can serve openly. That's a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah, I having served, I am all for, if you want to go, a young man or woman wants to go ahead and enlist in the service and do their duty for the country and serve 4 years or however many years they choose to do so, more power to them. I'm all for it, But that, and it's not a identity type of thing. It's you're doing it because you have you have a calling, you have a sense of duty, sense of responsibility too, not because you happen to be transgendered or gay or pink or purple or yellow or whatever.
Okay, well, it's it just seems like it's just one more thing. Speaking of just one more thing, and I feel really good and really horrible about saying this, Paul, because sometimes when I know it's crazy. Sometimes when you're right, you're like, damn, I'm always right, and then other times you're like, damn, I always get it right. Crap. I said months ago, there's no way in the world that the Department of Justice is going to indict Hillary Clinton. It's just not going to happen. It's just some sort of weird Republican conservative wet dream. It's just not going to happen. Because the president this week is getting ready to go campaign with Hillary Clinton. There's no way in the world, it seems, that he would allow Lynch, the Attorney General, to indict a person that he's going to go campaign with. That doesn't happen in anybody's world. So if the Republican Reince Priebus / Donald Trump coalition, I know it doesn't exist. I don't understand that. But if their idea is, if part of their strategy is that this woman may be indicted, and they're going to be able to use that, I think they should probably rethink that strategy, don't you?
Well, yes, and the other issue to the joint campaigning is who's paying for that? Is Hillary out of the campaign? Is the Clinton Foundation paying for that?
The Saudis, man.
Somebody.
Who's paying for it? It's the Saudis.
It's like you or I trying to go get on, Southwest or American or Delta or somebody. You got to pay.
Yeah.
in order to fly, and the taxpayers are not going to be real happy if we're just completely footing the bill for that. So there's that. It's you can take your the joint campaigning to the same level as all of the kerfluffle around Lynch and Bill Clinton meeting in Tucson. It's the appearance of it's the appearance of impropriety. So here we have a sitting president.
Everybody's so nice.
Campaigning, it's not campaigning for a.
It's not the appearance of impropriety. That was impropriety. That was, and like I know, that was Lynch telling Bill, "Hey, don't worry about it. Everything's cool. We got it."
Yeah, it's no, we don't know unless there was a little fly on the wall that's going to tell us what was actually discussed, and in the legal term, the appearance of impropriety is a great weighted measure, and that is a legal precedent upon which a lot of stuff has fallen, and if they're doing that the same way with this, all right, so we have a sitting president who's going to go out and campaign for someone who has broken the espionage rules, the law in this country. Let's not even get into the emails, and she couldn't handle two different devices, but she has broken the espionage laws, and I don't have that federal statute right from 791 or something like that. But it's we're living in strange times.
No doubt we are, for sure. And if the president takes Air Force One with him, and he's going to travel on Air Force One, I can't imagine that he would travel in anything else. I can't imagine that he'd be in the back in the sea line on the Southwest flight, back in the seas, no. Waiting to get on the plane. It's $206,337 an hour to take Air Force One anywhere. It's got a crew of like 30 people. And you know what? And I know that the Saudis have a lot of money, and I know that the Dems have a lot of money. But but your question is correct. If he's going to campaign with her, who's paying for anything else? Who's paying for Air Force One?
Exactly.
$206,000 an hour.
Yep.
A crew of 30, I think it's like 37 or something like that. It's a bunch of people who are always on that aircraft waiting to go. So this idea that he can just run off to, Mackinac, Mississippi, and campaign, that doesn't exist, I just made that up, You know what? And campaign.
We're going to get calls or emails about that, I'm sure.
Mackinac, Mississippi. Fine. WLS860 at gmail.com. If you happen to live in Mackinac and you're saying like Horton, here's a who, we are here. I'll apologize. And you can come on and show me pictures of the Mackinac town square, which is probably about a foot square if it exists. But you know what?
And the local diner. And the
local diner, which is a food truck. But somebody's got to talk about who pays for that $206,000 an hour.
Yeah.
For the president to fly around and campaign with anybody, really, let alone somebody like Hillary Clinton again, who has broken the espionage law, and is guilty. And the thing is that bothers me, Paul, is you say we live in an interesting time, and that's very true. And part of that interesting times is the truth is simply not all that important anymore.
Oh no, not at all. For the majority, well, let's put it this way. Let's qualify that just a bit. The truth is not important to a majority of the American public, and within that, maybe it's a subset, the majority of the American voters. The truth is not important. There are people like you and I and some other folks that we know for whom the truth is very important.
What's real is important, you know. And I mentioned I did fight back earlier today, and you know, and as horrible as the event at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando is, and I'm glad, quite frankly, that son of a bitch is in hell who killed those people. I am sorry. I know that's not very sensitive, but I don't really care. But the fact of the matter is that if you hear the left started calling the weapon he used an AR-15. Why? Because the AR-15 is something that they could get in people's brain as being a horrible weapon. Now, the AR-15, and again, I don't know much about guns. I always defer to people who do, because what I want to know is what's real. The AR-15 is just a rifle. The AR has to do with the manufacturer. It is not an abbreviation for assault rifle. It's just a rifle. And people do hunt with AR-15s all the time. It's a very, very popular gun. It's durable. It's accurate. It's fairly affordable for guns and that, you know what, for rifles in that
they're about
space.
$500 to $700 a piece, depending on where you buy them.
Well, yeah. So it's a fairly popular weapon. It's not anything resembling something that would be considered an assault rifle. Assault rifles are fully automatic weapons, which are already banned.
Yes. It's a semi-automatic, and the term AR is from the manufacturer. It is Armalite rifle.
There you go. But you know what? The left is hell bent on ignoring what that truth is, and as it's not important. It's very important if you're going to have a discussion about these kinds of things. If you're going to have legislation based on these kinds of things, it's really important that people know exactly what the heck we're talking about and what you're talking about, isn't it?
Oh, of course. And the actual rifle that Martine used was a H&K, or no, it was H&K or a Sig Sauer.
It was a Sig Sauer.
Sig Sauer, yeah, it was a Sig Sauer. It was a Lycan kind, something. It wasn't an AR-15, but it was a Sig Sauer, something that is akin to. It's another rifle. Plus, he had a what did he have? He had a Glock, I believe. He had a Glock 19 with him as well, which I think in my reading that a majority of people were shot with that.
And that's another very popular handgun.
Yep.
I've done some YouTube research on Glock and Glock 19, and my son is thinking about actually purchasing a Glock. So we've done a lot of research on that particular handgun, and talked to my bass player at church, who's a sheriff's officer, who says that that's what he uses. That's his service. That's his own personal service revolver.
A lot of law enforcement agencies have gone to the Glock.
Yes, so he likes it because it's durable. He likes it because it's accurate. easy to
Now,
clean,
the
all that stuff.
one of the things that came up, I saw in this morning's news that came across, was the fact that the Democratic Black Caucus is up to their shenanigans that they pulled 2 weeks ago before they went on recess,
Yes.
and had their sit-in in the House, and
Catered
this
sit-in.
morning, yeah, the catered. Yeah, that's right. If I want to go to a sit-in, I want to go to one of those catered sit-ins.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But they
Food's here, guys. Oh, cool.
the news story, or I guess they put out the memo, was they are vowing to be as disruptive when the House comes into session again this morning, here in another hour and a half or half hour, I guess. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think they said noontime they start. They're going to be they're vowing to disrupt again House proceedings for this pseudo faux gun bill that they want to pass.
Well, and the idea, and the thing is that the Republicans already have a bill that they want to push forward, but it's not the bill and doesn't have the scope of the Democrat legislation. So the Democrats want to extort the House into backing their bill. Yeah. So what they're going to do is misbehave, and because they don't believe that, first of all, that Paul Ryan has the stones to send the sergeant at arms down there and arrest people. And even if they do, that makes them martyrs.
Well, yeah, I think the focus of their ire and what they want to do is really, at this point, secondary to, because the situation 2 weeks ago was so mishandled. Yeah, they catered the whole damn thing, and Paul Ryan and the rest of the powers that be really were running around not knowing what to do, other than they turned off the lights and closed the doors and, okay, you guys can sit in time out.
And we're going to go home.
We're all going home. This is going to be a point at which we're going to see what sort of leadership the House Republicans have in putting a stop to this. That's going to be the story, I think.
So, and this is happening in kind of in your neck of the woods, kind of down south from you. Is this going to be one of those things that can work out well for Paul Ryan, or could be the end of his time in the House? He is being primaried by another guy named Paul, a guy named Paul Neeland in District 1, I think it is, of Wisconsin.
Yep.
He's being primaried. So is this one of those things where Ryan knows he's got to get this right?
Oh, of course. This is going to be, this is going to be piling on. If he gets it right, yeah, it's a feather in his cap. If it does not go well for him and the House Republicans, that's going to be just more fuel for Paul Nehlen to go, hey, look, look, Kenosha and District House District 1 here in Wisconsin, you've elected a guy who cannot control his people.
Can't control anybody.
Yeah, can't control anybody, and doesn't have the fortitude to stand up to a bunch of childish leftist statist Democrats, and he needs to be replaced. And now, is that going to fly at all in? I'm not real sure about the makeup of District 1. Obviously, they've elected a Republican. This may push, the arrow a little more in Nehlen's favor if this does not go well, or it may, even things up, because Nehlen's got a number of good points that he continues to harp on with Ryan's, his lack of leadership and all in the House on various things. So, this will be a stepping stone for what goes on in November. It
should be interesting, and and I'll keep checking into C-SPAN over the course of the day to see how things go. Because if I just watch C-SPAN, I'll take a nap. And,
yes, we will.
And because it is C-SPAN, if you've not watched it, it can be pretty interesting, but it can also be the cure for the worst insomnia that you've ever had in life.
Yep, it's a great sleeping aid.
Yeah. But if you've never watched C-SPAN, if you've never watched how some of the conversations go on, and how none of these people have ever seen Schoolhouse Rock, how a bill becomes a law, it's on full display on C-SPAN every day. And I'm thinking that should be a requirement once you get into the House, once you get into the Senate, that you're able to recite the entire Schoolhouse Rock episode of how a bill becomes a law.
That would work.
Because you know what?
Although it's much more staid here, watching C-SPAN, everybody's very polite, and there's decorum and points of order and all of that sort of stuff. We don't get to watch enough of it, but the British House of Commons is just a riot to watch.
Oh, they boo people.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a high school debate club that gets a little out of hand.
Yeah, they yell out. It's really out of control, and they're supposed to be the civilized ones.
Who was it, Joe? Joe, the Georgia.
Oh, you lie?
Yes.
Yeah, he would fit right in.
He fits right in the British House of Commons. Were that there were more people like him in our congressional, in the Congress that would speak up for themselves and their constituents.
That would be something else. That would be different. All right, now I don't know about you, but we watched a great deal of television yesterday. Well, it was on all day. I will say that. Because it was 4,000 degrees outside, and I wasn't going outside. I just wasn't going out there. It was hot. I wasn't going. And we have air conditioning in the house, so there was no reason to go out there. But what I noticed yesterday, that there were, I don't know, over the course of the day, and I don't want to exaggerate, at least 35 times we saw a Hillary Clinton commercial. At least 35 times. At least. Over the course of the day. I didn't see
my apologies. I feel sorry for you.
It was hard. It was the same one over and over again.
Yeah.
But I did not see one single Trump commercial. Not one. What's the deal?
Well, she's got all the money. He doesn't at the moment, I think.
She's got all the money, and that's probably it. And they spent a lot of it yesterday, and they spent it smart. They knew people were home. They knew people were watching television. They knew that it was Monday, and they knew that women were home. So they kept running the spot about the little girl who was sick and went for the efforts of Hillary Clinton when she was first lady to get children covered with insurance that her daughter might have died, blah, 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 blah. They kept running that same spot, that same tug at the heartstrings sort of spot.
Yeah, emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's like that she had anything really, and she was able to work with Democrats and Republicans to get this done. What it never mentions, and they never do, and they're not going to. It's like, Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House at the time. A Republican Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House at the time, and allowed that, and helped that to happen. It wasn't Hillary Clinton because she was First Lady. What she was busy doing was not sleeping with her husband. That's what she was most busy not doing. She was most busy not sleeping with her husband.
Well, we are in the great northern outpost, remote northern outpost up here. We stream everything, so we have, for the most part, other than a couple of the streaming channels, we don't get commercials, which is very fortuitous in this time of the year. Once every 4 years.
Oh my God!
We don't have to endure all of that, drivel and sap and all that other, mindless stuff that keeps coming out, because that's all that it would seem to be is just it's a bunch of political commercials interspersed with some television content.
Oh my God, it was just awful. and it was all day long, and it was incessant. Every time I was trying to write, and every time my ear would perk up, and I go, "Oh, that commercial's on again." Still, the same damn commercial. It was awful. It was just awful. And I thought
there's a certain advantage to have, to do doing nothing but streaming.
Yeah, and I thought, you know what? Where's the rebuttal? This is the day that you do it. You've got a lot of people home from work who are watching television before they go out to the beach or they go out to the fireworks festivities. You got a lot of people home. This is the time where you can make your case.
Oh yeah. It's and I think I haven't seen, a recent update, but what was it, a week or so ago? Trump was down to 1 million and 1.5 million, something like that, in his war chest, and Hillary has 20 times that or something. So that probably was it, and they've got and I know that I've read a few things that the Republican powers that be are concerned because there isn't, they are fundraising at their lowest rate in, how many cycles of presidential elections. It's quite a bit.
Well, it's kind of, and it's kind of their own fault. They spent a majority of their time, instead of rallying the troops, they spent a lot of time dividing the troops. So it's kind of their own fault.
Yeah, there's been too many other rabbit trails and rabbit holes and ooh, look, a shiny penny.
Yeah,
type of stuff going on.
Squirrel.
rather than focusing on the goal in come November.
Yeah, and that seems like that's a leadership that's a leadership problem that lays right at the feet of Reince Priebus.
Yes.
Reince Priebus, was pounding his chest in 2014 that they had such great fundraising, sort of at the expense of Michael Steele, because that was the whole deal with Michael Steele, that Michael Steele couldn't fundraise. However, Michael Steele won as chair of the GOP in 2010, won a bunch of elections across the country. Notwithstanding, but in any case, it seems like that the GOP is so far behind the curve now. Can they catch up? Can they get to a place where in November Donald Trump has any opportunity to win this election?
Well, I think that and it very well may be. I think both the Republicans and Democrats are waiting for, if you will, the other shoe to drop. For the Republicans, whose convention is here, next week? Another week and a half, I think. They're all waiting to see, the rank and file are waiting to see what's going to happen at the convention. There's still not a lot of unanimity about what's going on there, so I think they're all going to wait and see what is going to happen there. And for the Democrats, they're waiting to see, what the FBI and the Department of Justice are going to do here in a couple of weeks. And I think what the Democratic convention is the end of, it was about a week after the Republican convention, and that's going to be in Philadelphia.
Well,
I don't know why you would want to go to Cleveland in July.
I don't know why you want to go to Cleveland at all. I mean, it's the same old ridiculous strategy of having your convention in battleground states. Yeah, they tried that in 2008. It was a failure in 2012. Although I'm glad it was down the street from my house, literally. Another failure, and they're going to try it in Ohio, and it could very well be another failure, as opposed to just go somewhere nice that the convention goers can have a good time.
I think probably the best thing, the most exciting thing that could probably happen in Cleveland is if the Cuyahoga River caught back on fire again.
Well, there you go. That's what I'd be hoping for, frankly. I'd be sitting out there going, "Burn, baby, burn!"
That's right.
That's what I'd be hoping for, some excitement. But yeah, I mean, it's that whole idea that they need to be in battleground states. Doesn't make it doesn't make any sense.
That's where they need to be. And like I said, I think both parties are waiting to see what is happening. Hopefully, the Republicans are kind of regrouping and getting some focus on what to do, the day after the convention, and to move forward. Hopefully, they're using this time for that. And like I said, waiting to see what is there going to be any challenge or not, or just what's going to happen, and also they're probably waiting as well to see what's what the Department of Justice and the FBI are going to do with Hillary.
Well, they can call me. I can tell them.
Yeah,
I can save them. I can save them some time, energy, effort, and angst. Nothing's going to happen. Things are going to move forward. She's already said that she's not going to talk about it anymore. She's not going to talk about it.
Do we have an over under on how long that's going to last?
No, but the line. I'm sure the line will come out at noon today. When the babies and the white, in the House of Representatives have another pout out.
Yeah.
So but you know what? The deal, though, what's frightening about this is that it gives people so little time to really get going on a major scale. Like here in my area, and my area is sort of an anomaly. I think there's a lot of Trump support. There's a lot of put your butthurt away from the primaries. And because there was a lot of butthurt, I'll tell you what, there were things said about Marco Rubio that people are still pissed off about, because these people become heroes, and when you support them in the primaries and you support them all along, you really get into it and you really want to win, and everything that you have you put behind these folks, and then when they don't win, it's sad enough. But when the person who does win is an obnoxious ogre like Donald Trump is, I mean, there's nothing pretty about Donald Trump. There's nothing nice about him. He's an ogre. He's not articulate. He's not any of that stuff. But it all seems to be working for him. To put your butthurt away for a while is really, really hard. And people are starting to do that because what they understand is that the alternative is Hillary Clinton, is the wicked witch of New York. They understand that, and that's for a lot of people here enough. Do you think that's going to be enough for the rank and file Republicans in November to go? You know what? Click the button for Trump and not Hillary Clinton, or will they be disgusted and say, "Hang it all, I'm going to watch TV"?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. You would hope that, it's really, I think it's. I'll assert that it's incumbent on the Republicans and the conservatives to continue to hammer home on Benghazi, on the breaking of the U.S. Espionage Act, on Hillary, that these things are paramount and really foundations of what, part of what being a president is all about. And that if she can't handle those things, how in the world do we expect her to do the right thing anywhere else? That's shows like ours and others, we need to keep hitting that, reminding people, continually, not 24/7, but, it's got to be a reminder to folks that this is not a qualified individual to be president. And I really don't like the idea that we are having to choose the lesser of two evils. I don't know. There's something wrong with that to me.
Yes.
I'm going to the ice cream store and, well, you only have chocolate or strawberry. And,
I don't like chocolate. I don't like strawberry. Well,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I
chocolate and
really don't
strawberry.
like chocolate, but I'm not real fond of strawberry. But I mean, come on, and that speaks to the larger issue of we are this election cycle has been so wrapped up in the minutia on the personalities and the name calling and everything, and I haven't heard, and I don't. You can certainly speak to this on your end down there. That I haven't heard much, if any, substantive conversations about conservative principles, about policy. Things that the people that you and I know, really want to hang our hats on. I get, yes, I want the border secured. I'm tired of hearing about the wall. It's always, I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to build a wall. I'm more concerned about how we're going to handle the border security, that sort of thing. I'm not seeing policy issues being debated.
Nope. And I don't think we're going to. And because, and you're right. I think it speaks to a larger issue of who we've turned into as an electorate. And that drives the conversations, and the thing that we look for. I mean, there's a website out there called predictit.com that have sort of taken this whole thing to almost a fantasy sports level.
Oh,
and that's where we are. So I think that the drama of it, the reality TV esque of it, is what's driving the conversations. And you know what? And when you start talking about policy, when you talk about immigration policy, you're not talking about just building a wall. You're talking about how you're going to continue to handle visas, how you're going to deal with people who are here illegally, how you're really going to deal with it, the nuts and bolts of it, quite frankly, aren't all that interesting.
How are you going to deal with the people who are currently here and who have overstayed their visas?
Mm-hmm. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with people like Sammy Al-Arian, who was here teaching at USF, which is 6 minutes from where I'm sitting right now, for 3 years on an expired work visa, while the feds had videotape of him at fundraisers for Hamas, right here, living in Temple Terrace, which is 3 minutes from my house, teaching at USF, which is 6 minutes from my house. And what are you going to do about things like that? I want to hear I want to hear a little bit of nuts and bolts. And I know getting in the weeds sometimes is not the most exciting television. It isn't, but it's important how things are actually going to work. Yes, we know there's an immigration problem. Yes, we know that. Okay, so give me some idea of the nuts and bolts, more than the glossing about the wall, which is bumper sticker stuff. I think that we now are our electorate that are Facebook meme fueled and bumper sticking driven. That's our policy and our ideologies.
Yeah, we've become a nation of low information voters, getting it from the guy who's sitting in front of you at the stoplight or in the traffic jam, and his bumper stickers, or as you said, where you're getting your information on Facebook. There are low information voters. They haven't drilled down enough into the policy and the nuts and bolts on it to actually really read and understand what these people are all about.
Well, no one's going to read, and I know you have to get out of here. I know you got to go. I have things to do, but no one's going to read, and that's why in these debates that are coming up, these people have to say these things, and these questions have to be asked and answered, because no one's going to read anything. No one's going to get a newspaper. No one's going to say, I read your book. No one's going to do that, because that's not who we are.
Let's do this for our listeners and all. You and I will read, and we'll impart to them.
I'll read for you.
Yeah.
I'll be Mr. June, and I'll read for you. But the idea is that these people have to start saying these things in public and start getting these things out in public. This is the nuts and bolts of it. And when we have these debates, which I am frankly not looking forward to, they're going to be cringeworthy. Oh, yes, all of them. Yes, they're going to be like, oh God, okay, I've watched enough of that. I can't watch any more of that. It's going to be a lot of that going on. It's going to be a lot of can I just DVR it and fast forward to the part where he calls her a bitch. That's the part that I want to see. The part that I can make a Vine video. But that's where we are, though. But and a lot of it has to do with, I think, the dumbing down of the electorate. It's just who it's who we are, and that's the saddest part about this particular election cycle is that, especially the Republicans, we have 16 other candidates who I think were all fairly serious. Maybe not John Kasich, but but for the most part, fairly serious people
and articulate and well versed in policy.
And this is what we've come up with.
Yeah,
this is where we are.
Yeah.
Oh well,
my coffee cup is just about empty, and yes, I have another meeting I need to get to. So I have enjoyed this. We are going to do this again and again and again until we get it right, I think.
Yeah, we'll get it, or until somebody makes us stop doing it.
Well, there is that too, I guess.
All right, Paul. Thanks so much. Enjoy your coffee. Enjoy your appointment. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I know that we will see you sooner than later.
You betcha. Thanks, everybody, and thanks, Willie. Don't forget, folks, this is going to go up on YouTube, so like and share with everybody.
Yes. That's how we win. All right, Paul. Right. Have a fantastic rest of the day. We'll see you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye now. That's how we win. We win because we are together and we share and we promote and we cheer each other on. Well, you know what? My coffee cup's empty too. Thanks so much for showing up here on your coffee break and spending some time with us. We'll see you in a couple days. We'll make sure you know, probably in a few days, there's going to be a Facebook page up called Coffee Break, and that you'll be able to get your information on and let us know what you're thinking about, and let us know the things that you want to talk about. But until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you.